Synanon was founded in the United States in the 1950s, initially as a rehabilitation program for drug addicts, and evolved into a violent and controlling cult over the following decades. Originating in Santa Monica, California, under the leadership of now Charles Dederich, a former alcoholic seeking effective treatment methods, the group quickly transformed from a therapeutic community into a totalitarian, isolationist organization using a psychological manipulation, coercion, and indoctrination to maintain control over its members. Founder and origins. Charles Dederich was born in 1913 in Oakland, California, and his personal struggles with alcoholism and social marginalization shaped his views on addiction and society. In 1958, he founded Synanon as an alternative support group, emphasizing group therapy, confession, and intense confrontations between members, a practice known as wasiu, the game. Initially intended as a therapeutic tool to expose members to criticism, purge guilt, and transform behavior, the game gradually became a method of psychological abuse and social control. Growth and community life. During the 1960s and 70s, Synanon expanded beyond drug rehabilitation, attracting entire families, disillusioned individuals, and followers of alternative lifestyles. The group demanded a total obedience to Dederich, isolation from the outside world, submission to the community, and participation in collective activities, which included forced labor, public confessions, and constant surveillance. Members lived in self-sufficient communities, with communal housing, daycare, internal schools, and group-run businesses, creating absolute dependency on the organization, doctrine, and control. Synanon's ideology emphasized extreme social control and personal purification, portraying the external world as corrupt and insisting that transformation was only possible within the group under the leader's authority. The game became a tool to humiliate, punish, and intimidate members, enforcing loyalty and severing familial ties. Members were encouraged to cut relationships with outsiders, transfer property and income to the organization, and follow strict rules regarding marriage and sexuality, violence, and criminal activities. By the 1970s, Synanon had evolved into a high-violent sect involving intimidation, threats, and attacks on critics and former members. The group developed an armed security force, engaged in harassment, and even attempted assassinations using firearms and explosives. Violence was justified as protection of the community and preservation of the group's purity, with Dederich exercising absolute control over all decisions and strategies. Economic control. Synanon also manipulated members financially, requiring them to surrender salaries and property to the group. The organization developed a network of businesses and real estate to sustain its activities, including clinics and communal properties, creating an economy dependent on obedience. Decline. The decline began in the 1980s as law enforcement investigations and lawsuits exposed physical assaults, assassination attempts, child abuse, and financial crimes. Testimonies from former members revealed the extent of psychological abuse, intimidation, and forced isolation, leading to legal actions that dismantled the main communities. Dederich faced multiple lawsuits and lost influence, and although small offshoot communities persisted under different names, the violent, coercive structure of Synanon collapsed. Legacy. Synanon's evolution from a therapeutic group to a violent sect demonstrates how initially well-intentioned methods can be distorted into absolute control. The case is widely studied in psychology, sociology, and law as an example of indoctrination, psychological abuse, organized violence, and economic manipulation. It illustrates the risks posed by charismatic leaders wielding total authority over isolated communities. Cultural and academic impact. Synanon influenced studies of cults and coercive religious or therapeutic communities. It is referenced in research on group dynamics, brainwashing, behavioral control, and institutionalized violence, showing how the combination of charisma, indoctrination, and social isolation can lead to widespread abuse and criminality. Conclusion. Today, Synanon is remembered as a historical example of a violent and coercive sector in the United States. Its study remains relevant for preventing abuse in therapeutic communities, protecting vulnerable individuals, investigating organized crimes, and understanding the psychology of cults, highlighting the dangers when self-help or rehabilitative organizations become coercive and authoritarian.